So this morning's class is going to be focused on a yin practice, which will end with a yang practice, but it'll all be basically on the floor, easy access poses. And we will start, we'll be working with the liver gallbladder meridian in the yin practice. Short practice for that. So let's begin with our centering. So taking your comfortable seated position in Sukhasana, hands on your thighs. Take a nice deep breath and begin to move your awareness downward and inward into the body. With each breath, allowing the spine to become a little bit longer, the sides of the waist moving inward towards the spinal column. Your shoulder blades hugging the back body. Lift and spread your collarbones, drop the shoulders down. Lining up the crown of your head over the pelvic floor. Relax the lower hinge of your jaw. Soften the throat. Feel the eyes relaxing and dropping back in the sockets. And then bringing your hands together in front of your chest into Namaskarasana, anchoring the thumbs at the breastplate. And let's begin our practice with 3 ohms to set the tone and the intention for the practice to follow this morning. So beginning with a cleansing breath in and out. Breathing in. And now bowing your head down towards your heart. Take a moment this morning to dedicate your practice to something greater than yourself, cultivating an ideal. And acknowledging the Lord within. And then placing your hands down on your thighs, lift your head and open your eyes. So let's begin this morning. One option you might have is to begin with a passive chest opener on blocks or a blanket, but I'm not going to do that this morning, but that is an option if you would like to. I had started the sequence with that originally, but realized it's really going to be a little too long. So instead, we're going to start with shoelace this morning. So get yourself positioned comfortably and have one of your blankets rolled up as a bolster to place under one of your extended legs in front, because you might need that for comfort. Just have it as an option in case you're not taking the full pose. Your base blanket should be nice and wide and comfortable for seated poses. In fact, I like to have 2. So I have 2 blankets just for comfort. And I'm also going to have a blanket behind me in case when I come into the full pose, I'm going to have my prop to sit on for the full pose. So if you know the way you like to set this up. If you're taking the full pose, you won't need the bolster roll. You can use your bolster roll and place it behind you for sitting on when you come into the full pose. So I'll demonstrate the half pose first, half shoelace. So sitting with your legs extended in front of you with the bolster right under your knees to ease the hamstrings. sitting settled on both sit bones. Sit nice and tall. Take a hold of the left knee and take your left foot over the right and heel toe your left foot up towards the right hip. So you're just heel toeing it. And if you have a space here, I'm just holding my knee up here for the moment. I'm going to line up my knees. And if you have a lot of space, you can place part of your blanket wedge here to support the space between your knees. If not, you're good. This is half shoelace, so you're going to sit up nice and tall. The full pose would be, and if you're in the half pose, good. Otherwise, you can take the other leg underneath you and bend it back. And I like to come forward and squeeze the knees together. Make sure the feet are back towards the hips. And then I'm going to sit back and look for my prop to sit on so that I am comfortable in this position. Okay? So sitting nice and tall. Begin to hinge forward at the hip crease. Take your hands to the floor, either side of your leg. And begin to come forward with the full weight of your body. Now working towards your own edge. If this is too much, you keep working, because I'm going to show an alternative pose, because this is too much for my right hip. Thread the needle is an option. So you keep going where you are, but I'm going to just demonstrate thread the needle. If you're feeling like your hips are cranky, this is a good option. Taking one leg over the other, and you can bring the other leg up too. You can grab and interlace your fingers behind the one leg. So nice, long, deep drinks of breath. We always hold the yin postures for a couple of minutes at least. Ideally between 3 to 5 minutes. But for the sake of our practice, usually 2.5 minutes is about what we do. Long breaths. Now begin to cultivate the ujjayi breath as you settle here. A slight constriction in the back of the throat. Gentle ujjayi breath. That will help you concentrate. Keep your focus. Keep your eyes soft. All the organs of perception soft. Scan the jaw. Scan if there's any tension gathering where it should not, and release that. Check your shoulders. Is there tension there? You'll feel deep sensation in the outer hips and the lower back. If at all, if this gets to be too much for you, you can simply come up to the vertical position and stay there. That's always an option. So we're in our last 3 breaths on this side. At the end of the next breath, work your way back up to vertical, coming up to seated. And we're going to take a little side bending action. My position is not perfect because of my bad hip, but ignore that. Just you're coming into you're still in your own position. Now, take your left hand to the floor, bring the right arm up and over, and let's take a little side bend. Stretch out the rib cage a little bit. Lean into that hand on the floor and just let your weight drop to the side freely. Again, you'll probably find a little edge there of discomfort. Go to the edge just as you do with all the yin postures. And just keeping your eyes closed or just slightly open, looking at the lower eyelid. Try to keep everything contemplative and quiet. Now come back up to vertical. Take your right hand to the floor, left hand up and over, left arm up, and lean into that hand on the floor. So you're using gravity. You're not trying to use your muscles right yet. You're just using gravity. So keep it easy, leaning on the arm. Relax the face, relax the breath, keep it nice and long. Very nice. Now come back up to vertical. Take a hold of your upper leg, your upper knee, grasp it. I want you to plant that foot, your left foot on the floor, the big toe mound planted into the floor, because we're going to squeeze everything out of this posture we can, a seated twist. So extend your right arm out and wrap it around your knee. Sitting up nice and tall, begin to twist to the left. Very nice. Either your hand on the floor, Babs has a hand on the floor. I take a bind. I like to grip my hands, my fists together, interlace my fingers, or grab the opposite wrist. So find the bind that you like and the place that you like to be for keeping the hips balanced, keeping yourself serene and calm, gazing down at the lower eyelid. This is giving a nice stimulation to the internal organs. And the liver, gallbladder meridian is what we're working on. And when we do the second side, you'll really begin to feel the stimulation of the liver organ. Let's release this side. Take a hold of your legs, straighten them out forward, and come into that little back bend we like to do as a cleansing posture between sides, lifting up your chin, and just enjoy the release from the first side. Good. Very nice. Coming back out, you can take your bolster, put it back under your knees if you took it away, or use it the way you wish to, and take a hold of your right leg, bringing the right leg over this time and heel toeing that foot over towards the left hip. So lining up your knees. If you need support underneath the knee, place a blanket or part of your prop underneath your knee. Otherwise, if you're coming into the full pose, bend the other leg underneath, coming up onto your hands and knees. Your knees, so this way you can snuggle your knees together and symmetrically let those feet, you can look, they look like antenna left and right, and you just begin to press back gently and slowly onto a seated prop behind you. Very good. Sitting up nice and tall to begin with, lift and spread the chest, hinging at the hips, begin to come forward to your first edge, placing the hands on the floor to hold, to control the movement of your upper body weight forward. Breathe into this. Might be quite different on the second side. The difference between the hips is usually pretty noticeable. Long drinks of ujjayi breath as you get settled. Keep that breath nice and long. Don't let the head drop unless your neck is very healthy. If your neck is very healthy, you can curve over and slump into this pose as much as you want. If your neck is compromised at all, I want you to keep your neck neutral and the head extended straight forward. It's very nice in this pose, if you enjoy it, to let yourself come forward into a complete little ball. And in that case, you do want to round your upper back because it can be quite nice to help you release into this. So already, if your thighs are hitting your belly or your lower ribs, you're getting a nice stimulation of the internal organs there also. Breathe into that. The liver is very important for our emotional health and the streams of vitality that run through the body. If the liver chi is out of balance, you'll find that you get angry quickly. And when the chi is balanced, you'll find your temper is much more even and you feel the flow of your emotions moving through the body. We're in the last 3 breaths here. At the end of the next breath, walk yourself back up to vertical. Then take your right hand to the floor, left hand up and over. We'll do the side stretches again, but in the opposite order of the first time. So leaning into that hand, let the upper body weight completely descend to the right side, looking up, turning your face to look up at the ceiling. Keep your eyes soft. Keep a contemplative smile playing about your lips. And just enjoy the side opener here. All the way down to the hip crest, all of those obliques being stretched out here. Very nice. And then come up to center and take the left hand to the floor, the right hand up and over, coming to your side bend on the second side. Lean into it. Feel the full body weight in this lateral side stretch. Everything's soft. The front of the throat is soft. Breathing Ujjayi, gently breathing into the Ujjayi breath. And then coming back up to vertical. Take a hold of your upper leg and draw the knee into your chest and plant the right foot into the floor, the big toe mound. So your leg is still crossed over the other leg. There you go. And then plant that foot down. And now extend your left arm forward and wrap it around your knee and come into a twist. Either I like to take a bind of my hand around my opposite wrist, or you can take your hand to the floor. Whatever works for you. Keeping the hips balanced, both sit bones grounded to the floor. Most importantly, and that foot grounded, the one that's crossed over, the big toe mound grounded into the floor. A nice contemplative, quiet, seated twist. And your upper thigh hopefully is pressing into your rib cage and into the liver, stimulating the liver itself, which is right on the right hand side, right below the ribs, right underneath the diaphragm. Visualize the liver, all the work it does, filtering, processing. It's the biggest chemical warehouse in your body. It does a lot of work processing all the chemical reactions in the body, processed through the liver. Now release from that side. I'm sorry about the blowers and stuff. I want the air coming in though. So release your legs out front. With yoga practice, we have to learn to ignore all the external noises sometimes. It's hard. And for the sake of this practice, I'm going to now close these windows because I really am disturbed. Having said that, I'm going to close the windows a little bit because it's just getting too loud out there. I want to concentrate. That's a little better. Sorry about that. Okay, so where are we? All right, let's come into Sphinx pose now. So setting up your blankets so that your hips are supported on the blanket, nice and evenly, the whole lower body if you can, and then placing your arms in position for Sphinx. You know this one very well. This pose should be very familiar to you. Keeping the neck neutral. Don't let the head flop forward. Do the traditional movements that you need, swinging your hips back and forth to release the lower back, tensing all the muscles up from the buttocks down to the soles of the feet. Inhale, and on an exhalation, releasing. So release all the tension gathered there. You've lined up. Look to check that your elbows are right underneath your shoulders. And so you've architecturally set up like a sphinx, like the lion sphinx pose that you've seen in the desert. It's nice and tall. The crown of the head is moving up towards the ceiling if possible, keeping everything aligned and vertical. Using the architecture of the body, the bone structure, to keep you from having to rely on any of the muscles. It's crucial in every yin pose to be sure that all of the skeleton is lined up the right way so that you can release the outer level of the muscles and get down to the deeper levels, the myofascial tissue, the tendons, and all of the layers beneath the skin and beneath the muscle. That's what we're aiming for. This has become quite a familiar pose. If you want to take a kumbhaka, a retention, you can do that at the top of the breath, taking a couple of beats to stopping the breath for a couple of beats on the inhalation and releasing. You can repeat that every few cycles of breath. Use your own intuition with regard to taking retentions. If you feel tension gathering in the lower back, repeat the routine of gripping the buttock muscles, gripping everything down to the soles of the feet, and then on an exhalation, releasing once more, consciously releasing. Stay here for just a few more breaths. Do you think the blower stopped, Babs?
Sounds like
Right
it.
after I close the windows? Yes, so I'm going to open them up again because
It's
quite
hot.
warm in here. Very warm. That breeze is so nice. Very, very. Oh my goodness. Makes all the difference in the world. Oh, oh my.
Yeah.
Better. It's still, but it's not too bad. So now from here, let's move into, first transition. Almost forgot that was transitioning. Lower your forehead to your stacked hands or wrists to release out of the back bend. Take a few breaths here to transition. And now let's press up and back into child pose. So I want you to have a support for your head, either the bolster you used for shoelace or something to rest your forehead on. Not coming into the full deep pose. I want you to feel relaxed, that your heels are pressing back towards your sit bones are moving back towards your heels, and your arms are comfortably placed. And there's no strain to get the head to the floor. Just came out of a back bend, so it's not going to be a very, very deep forward bend, but it's a nice counter pose. Keep the gentle ujjayi breath going here. Keep the breath moving in the back of the rib cage, and enjoy that nice massage of the organs against your thighs. Nice, deep, long breaths here. Should feel nice to be in this pose. All right, let's come up and out of child pose now. And we're going to set up for sleeping pigeon, sleeping swan. Known as pigeon, but sleeping swan in the yin practice. So you're going to need one blanket to be folded that you place underneath your hip. So you're definitely going to need the prop. Don't try to force this without a blanket. So let's start with the blanket on the right side. And you're going to come to table position. We'll both do the same side. I'm not going to mirror you on this one. I'll do the same side. So bringing your right knee forward to the outer edge of your mat, getting yourself into position for sleeping pigeon. Let the left leg slide behind you on the top of the foot, sliding down to the floor. And then be sure that your right sit bone is sitting on that blanket prop. So pull it underneath the right hip and be sure it's positioned correctly before you take the next step. So sitting nice and tall. There you go. Sitting nice and tall. Take the front body, stretch it out, lift, lift, lift. If you think you want a prop to rest your head on in front, take that next blanket, your other blanket, your abundance of blankets, take one in front of you. And then begin to, hinging at your hips, come forward, starting down at your elbows. You can rest your head on a prop, or you can be free floating here, as long as you're supported and comfortable. You don't necessarily need the block of support under the head if you know that you would like to come down deeper and that your chest is going to, within a few breaths, probably come down towards the floor. So take whatever time and position you need with your props. Trying to stay deep and settled within the breath. Some of these shapes and these poses become quite familiar and comfortable, so you can begin to explore them on a more subtle level by scanning the body from the crown of the head. Through each breath, bring your awareness down through the shoulder blades, down the back body. How is it feeling? Down into the hips. How is that going in the hips? Where do you feel the deepest sensation? Let the breath rest there. Breathe into the places of deepest sensation. Try to block out exterior noises. And I'm sorry if the exterior noises here are distracting you up there and wherever you are. As my teacher once said, one needs to learn to cultivate one's own inner garden. And if you cultivate the inner garden, then the external distractions of the world don't impinge so much. Enjoying deep silence is an important part of yoga practice, because in the silence, things arise within the body, within the consciousness that are allowed to sift into your awareness so that you can begin to greet them and process them, or simply just welcome them in a friendly mode of inquiry, just welcoming anything that arises. And often in these hip openers, often in this kind of pose, the hips hold a lot of deep emotions, and you might find emotions coming up. I've often found myself weeping gently in this pose, not from physical sensations, but from emotional sensations arising for release from the deep cave of the hips. And particularly women hold a lot. We hold a lot in our hips. It's a rather mysterious region. So I think we've had enough on this side. So let's come back up to vertical. Bring yourself back into table position and adjust your prop to the other side. So take it to the other leg, the left, on the left side. From your table position, move your left knee out towards behind the left wrist, and if you can, heel toe your lower leg forward a little bit, if you can. And then as you slide the right leg down and back, hopefully your left heel will be contacting the very top of your right leg, the very place where the psoas enters there. That's a nice place for it to drop to, but wherever you are with this, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. So taking the first couple breaths, lift the front body, make sure everything's nice and long, and then check to see that prop is under your left hip before you do the next thing. So you want to sink down comfortably into the prop. Hips are level. Be sure the prop is not too high either. You want it to be just the right level to support your hip, but not tilt your pelvis in any direction. So from here, begin to come forward, dropping the belly, coming down to your elbows, and working your way into the full pose. Either you can support your head on a prop, which I like to do at first, and letting the chest begin to drop. If your head is on a prop and your chest begins to drop to the floor, you don't want your neck to be compressed. So you're going to have to keep an eye on that prop and keep it adjusted so that to compensate for the movement to the floor. Keep the neck neutral. Long, deep drinks of breath, scanning the body inwardly. welcoming whatever sensations arise, whether they're physical, emotional. Notice your mental processes. Are certain thoughts emerging? Cultivating the inner observer. And the forward bends naturally lend themselves to this because they are introverted. The whole posture of the body is in a posture of bowing forward in humility down to the earth and gazing and looking inward into the inner consciousness. Last 3 breaths here. And let's press ourselves back up to vertical. Rearrange your legs so you're coming back to table. Oh, table position. And let's take one more child pose with your prop. Let's take wide kneed child pose. So bring your knees apart and sitting back on your heels, your big toes touching, come forward and rest yourself in child pose, wide knees. And then let's come up and out of this. As nice as it is, come up. We have one last yin pose to do, which is dragonfly. Just straightforward, open dragonfly. So if you need something to sit on for your sit bones to feel secure, I like to have a triangular blanket. Be sure that your heels are going to be supported when you come into the wide-legged pose. So make sure everything's set up so that when you come into your wide-legged position, that you feel comfortably supported and you're not going to feel any discomfort in the limbs extended. There you go. So nice and wide. This is our last yin pose today in the liver gallbladder sequence. So you're taking your fingers in front of you and rolling forward at the hip crease. You're rolling forward on the sit bones. So don't let the body slump forward. Try to keep everything neutral. Keep your neck neutral. Hinging at the hips, beginning to roll forward onto the sit bones. Wherever the angle of your legs are, it's immaterial because the movement is there in the deep, deep groins. No matter how far or close your legs are from each other, when you're rolling forward on the sit bones in this position, you should definitely feel some tension in those in the deep tendons of the inner legs and the backs of the legs. So take it easy too, because you don't want to overstretch your hamstring connectors you don't want to, and this is why it would be bad. That's why the old idea of bouncing into these poses was crazy. The gymnastics classes or gym classes or whatever, where you would bounce, That is so bad for the connective tissue. It really likes nice, deep, long, steady traction. And that's the way to open up. Never forcing, never bouncing, never trying to coax in any other way. We're just exploring. There's no goal. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I can't seem to get closer to the floor, like I see those yogis do where they're lying flat on the floor with their legs spread out. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're working with your own situation. And as we get older, our connective tissue is more and more reluctant to go into those extreme positions. It's not smart to do that either. So we're here to observe and gently stimulate the inner body through the in poses. And that's really all we are meant to do. We don't need to go or get anywhere. There's no goal. Love the sound of train. Last 3 breaths here. At the end of the next breath, walk yourself back up to vertical. Very carefully take a hold behind your knees, on the outer edges of the knees. Bend them slightly, draw them together, come into Dandasana. And let's take that little back bend we like to do as a cleansing pose. And then this is the end of the yin sequence. So we're going to do a little transition to our more active sequence. And I thought it would be nice to have a little bit of a core strengthener thrown in here at this point. So you're going to lie on your back. Make sure that you're nice and comfortable on your back. You got padding if you need it. And a pillow blanket if you need it. And coming into position on your back. So we're going to do a little bit of abdominal strengthening here. And here is where I would like you to, at this point, be sure, snuggle down and be sure that your feet have traction on the floor, on your mat, because that will help you, because we're going to transition into bridge pose at some point in this part of the sequence. But first, let's just do a little abdominal strengthening. Lift your knees, draw them up into your chest. And extend your arms out to the height of your shoulders, palms down, and drop the knees to the right. And holding them, don't let them flop. You're using your abdominals, your oblique muscles to hold them. This is a little bit of a strengthener and twist. Come back to center now. And then drop the hips, drop your legs to the left side, holding with your deep oblique muscles. So you're holding and controlling. Don't let them flop. You're holding them up. Good, good, good. And come back to center. Drop your feet to the floor for a second. Take a nice deep cleansing breath. Now interlace your fingers behind your neck. So you're going to hold your head. Interlace the fingers right below the occiput. And draw your knees into your chest again. And then I want you to extend the right leg up and out, just sort of straight up and out. And inhale, and on an exhalation, bring your right elbow outside your left knee. So there you go, lift, hold. Come back to center. Both knees in, extend your left leg straight up to the ceiling and lift your left elbow, take it to the outer right knee. Hold. Now, come back to center, both knees in. We're going to do that again on the breath in a bicycling action. I think you get the idea. Okay? We'll hold it for a little bit, but not as long as we just did. So we're just going to do some movement with the core here. Inhale. Extend the right leg out. Right elbow outside the left knee. Bicycle to the other side. Left elbow outside the right. Bicycle back. Right leg extended, left knee bent. Bicycle back. We haven't done this very often, so if you need to watch, I understand. Join in as soon as you can. And back and forth. A couple more times at your own pace. And then drop your knees, feet to the floor. Relax. Take a few breaths here. Ooh, relax. Let those abdominals release a little bit. I think it's good to do that one more time, though, don't you? I think so. Oh, I think so. Since we're here, draw your knees up to your chest. Inhale. Exhale. Do your bicycling action. You understand what it is now. If you want to add an extra element of difficulty, you can extend your arms straight outside that bent knee. Hold. And as you twist, extend your arms straight out to the side. Oh, that definitely adds a level of difficulty if that's what you're into. Do your bicycling at your own pace. A couple more cycles. Always do a little more than you want to, and then come back down to rest. Oh, feet to the floor. Oh boy. All right, so release your arms. And I want you to just bring them like alongside your hips. We're going to come up into bridge. It's going to be a quick and dirty bridge. If you'd like to, it's nice to have a block between the knees. And so here, Babs, here's a block for you. I didn't tell you need knee props. So if you want, you can just imagine the block between your knees. You know this pose pretty well. So I'm going to just let you decide what to do here. And if you need the belt around your ankles, you can add that too. But we're going to just do sort of a quick and dirty, what I would call quick and dirty bridge pose. Inhale, exhale, lift up the tailbone, come up into bridge, pressing down into your arms. Pressing into both arms. You know this pose. Bring your hips up as close to the ceiling as you can. Hold. And then vertebrae by vertebrae come down from the top of the vertebrae, from the thoracic spine, roll them down until the sacrum is the last thing to touch the floor. Take a breath here. Inhale, and on the exhalation, curl up the tailbone, curl, lift your hips up, come up. If you can come up to a little higher in your shoulder heads, bring your weight into your heels, press into your heels, and that will transfer the weight up to your shoulders, coming a little higher in your bridge. Come as high as you can. And I'm going to change, Babs, the width of your block to this. Okay? There you go. Okay. There you go. Turn your toes in slightly, pigeon-toed. Squeeze that block. Okay, you got that? Yeah, that's better. And then come back down, vertebrae by vertebrae, coming back down to the floor. Very nice. That was number 2. Inhale. Let's come on the breath now. Inhale, exhale, lift up your hips at the top of the bridge. Inhale, exhale, roll down. Inhale, exhale, roll up. Hold. Inhale, exhale, roll down. Inhale, exhale, roll up, bridge. Inhale, exhale, roll down. Inhale, exhale, roll up. Inhale at the top, exhale, roll down. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Roll up. Inhale. Exhale. Roll down. Now release the block. Put it aside if you had one. And draw your knees into your chest. And just hold yourself in Apanasana here for a couple of breaths. If you want to stir yourself around, rock back and forth on the sacrum, do whatever you want to do to release the back. But that was our little bridge sequence. As you go along, you can make it, you can adapt it, you can hold the bridge longer. That's always good. Working with the breath or with the holding. So holding for 5 breaths is a good measure. Now release. And let's roll to our sides. We're going to come up and transition into our Surya Namaskar poses. So our series. So we know this, and I'm going to throw in just one variation that we haven't done. But so you want to just have your blanket ready to support your knees. And I would say, in this case, I'd like you to only have your blanket one fold off the pile, like so, for your knees, so that you've got the top and the bottom of the mat free for traction, okay? So some padding for the knees, since we're using the knees instead of our feet in this sequence. And then when you're ready, coming up to Tadasana on the knees. Get rid of some of my debris over here so it's a little clearer. So here we come into the active part of the practice. There's only a half an hour left, so we'll do what we can. So starting with Surya Namaskara A, we'll go through the basic sequence and then we'll add bits to it. So inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, coming into forward bend, arms extended forward, extended child. Inhale up to table. Exhale down to your belly, forehead to the floor. Inhale into cobra. Exhale, press back into Adho Mukha Vajrasana, extended child. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, Samastiti, hands at the heart center. There's the basic sequence. Let's do it again on the breath. Inhale up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, child. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Work with the breath. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, press back to child. Extended child. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Samastiti again. Variations. We'll add them now. Inhale up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, table. Curl the toes under. Inhale, come up. Exhale. Pravrita Ustrasana to the right. Revolved camel. Hold this for a couple of breaths since we bothered to get here. We're going to hold this. Nice back bend twist. Look up to your upper hand. Add more back bend. Good. Exhale. Both arms up. Inhale at the top. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table, exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, rise right up to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Parita Ustrasana, second side. Left hand to your heel. Right arm up and over into that revolved, twisting camel pose, which I'm so fond of. Look up at your upper hand. Add the back bend. A couple more breaths here. Push up off your heel. Urdhva Hastasana. Inhale. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samastiti. So you're good with that one, right? We're going to do that one again, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, forward bend. You can keep your toes curled under the whole time, by the way. Inhale, table. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, extended child. Inhale, lift up to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, right hand to your heel, revolved camel. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, Adho Mukha, Vajrasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, arms overhead. Exhale, revolve to the left, Parita Ustrasana. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward. Inhale, table. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samastiti. Okay, take a breather here. Very good. Not going well? Ooh,
Yeah.
getting moving.
Yeah.
Good to get moving. Now come back onto the tops of your feet again. If your toes were curled under, which mine were for the whole time. So that was a nice stretch for the soles of the feet, and that was nice to get our blood going. Now we're going to move into Surya Namaskar B. And there's going to be an added variation that you're not used to in here, where I'm going to throw in a downward dog.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so it's a little bit more, it's a little more of a hybrid with the standing version of this pose. But otherwise, you know the drill. So follow along. If you don't get it right away, just join in wherever you want to. So coming back into chair pose, lift your arms up. Inhale. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, right foot forward into dragon. Deep lunge on the right. Let's hold this here for a couple breaths. Since we bothered to get here, I like to tell the body, yes, this is one of the poses in the sequence. Very nice. Inhale, exhale, bring the right knee back, forward bend. Vinyasa, inhale, table. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, left foot forward into deep lunge, dragon. Let's hold here for a couple breaths, a couple beats. Yes, this is one of the poses in the sequence. Here you go. All of these are imprinted patterns into the body. Now come back to the knee. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, curl the toes under, down dog. Let's hold this for 5 breaths. Back down to table. Inhale, exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, come up into your chair pose. Arms up. Ready goose, this is called in the yin. Exhale, samastiti. How'd that go?
Great.
All I did was throw in the down dog. I think that was nice.
It worked out perfectly.
It worked out fine. Let's do it again. Inhale. Chair pose. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, right foot forward, lunge. Stay here a couple beats. Inhale, come out. Exhale, table. Inhale, vinyasa. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale up to table. Exhale, left foot forward between the hands. Sorry, left foot. Here we go. Coming into your dragon. Couple breaths here. Inhale, bring your knee back to table. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, vinyasa. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, toes curl under, down dog. 5 breaths here. Doesn't down dog feel great now?
Yes, it does.
It feels like a resting pose.
Mm-hmm.
Inhale, exhale, down to your knees, table. Inhale, belly to the floor. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, samastiti. Shall we do that one more time just to reinforce it? And this time on the breath, one pose for each breath. All right, so here you go. Inhale, chair. Exhale, forward bend. No, excuse me, is that right? Exhale, forward bend. Where we're started. Inhale, table. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, right foot forward. Bend. Inhale, right knee back. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, table. Exhale, left foot forward. Inhale, left foot back. Exhale, forward. Bend. Inhale, up. Curl the toes under. Exhale, down dog. Still, we'll hold this for 5 breaths. This is always your break in the sequence. Inhale. Exhale to the knees. Table. Inhale up. Exhale, belly down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, chair. Exhale, samastiti. So how's that? You got your juices flowing a little bit? Think?
Definitely.
Okay, are we done with Surya Namaskar? Sun salutations? I think so. So that's a good sequence to follow. Um, and you do that. You can do that all you want. You could stop the class and just do all those sequences to your heart content. See how much you remember. See how much the body remembers. And you'll be surprised. It really will know those sequences pretty well. So now we're going to set up for sarvanghasana, shoulder stand. We have 15 minutes left. So we're going to do, I would like to do a good shoulder stand. I don't want to skip that. It's really important that you cultivate a shoulder stand in your practice. So let's do that, and then we'll move into shavasana. Okay? So holding shoulder stand a little longer is good. I'm going to show you the setup of the blankets I'd like you to do. You're going to have one blanket nice and flat. This is going to be to cushion your head. Okay? So nice big long blanket. Not full, but off the pile, unfolded once is the way I would put it. Take your second and third blanket. So you're going to take your second blanket, fold it, and you're going to place it wherever your head's going to be, the rounded edge of the blanket. You're going to place that. This is off the pile, straight off the pile, fold it, like so. So we have some padding here, which is nice. And then we're just going to use 2 blankets. You're welcome to use 3. I'm just going to use 2. I find it more grounding just to use 2, but you may need 3. If your neck is at all fussy, you want to use 3 blankets. But otherwise, in this case, we're going to stack 2 blankets on top of our base blanket. So, and they're going to be slightly stepped in, as you recall. Remember, so the rounded edge of the top blanket will be just 1 inch, not too much. There you go, just 1 inch in from the bottom blanket. Then you're ready to go. If you need a belt for your arms, you can belt your upper arms. But otherwise, let's just go. If you have trouble holding this pose, that's a recommendation, is to belt the elbows. So you're going to start by placing your shoulders. Measure with your fingers that you've got about 2 inches before you get started. 2 inches of blanket right where your shoulders are. 2 inches above your shoulders. And that your neck is free. Your neck feels nice and free there. Then to come up, remember we have these different techniques. But I like to just do a springboard with my hands. I take my hands under the sacrum and I'm on both hands, like both hands are fingers out like spiders. Like imagine your hands being springs. And I place my sacrum on my 2 hands. And then I push up with the arms. As soon as I'm up with my hips, I take my hands to my lower back and lift up. And I walk my hands down towards my shoulder blades. So keep walking your hands farther down. If you need to, bringing your elbows close together. Oh, Babs, you're off your blanket. Now you're way off. Move down. I'm not supposed to turn my head. So yeah, make sure you've got 2 inches above your head. That's better. Start there. So hands as a springboard, or if you choose to just come into halasana, plow pose, that's another way to come in, is to be in plow pose. Group yourself, take your hands into position, and then lift the legs either 1 at a time or 2 at a time into shoulder stand. Once you're here, curl your toes back towards your face. So you're doing that partial flexion of the foot. The inner thighs are glued together. Your gaze is going to be, the more active gaze is at the feet. If you want to take a calmer, more contemplative gaze, you would cast your eyes down towards your heart. And that will usually calm the nervous system down a little bit. And of course, at any time that you had enough, you had enough. And if you prefer Brita Karani, if you prefer to just put your legs up on and place your hips on blocks, or lift your legs against the wall. That's always an option. But we definitely want to get this inversion in today. Learning to hold shoulder stand a little longer is the goal. So the more advanced that you become in the practice, the more time you use for holdings. And as you do that, you'll find little challenges come up. So just observe those challenges. Don't judge yourself. Just say, oh, I really noticed that I'm losing my lift. If you're losing your lift, try crossing your ankles. Cross your ankles with the left foot in front. Squeeze your inner thighs together. That'll help you lift up and then release, and then cross the other ankle in front. Squeeze the inner thighs together and come back into the pose. That's a good technique for getting a lift again if you find yourself beginning to feel heavy in the shoulders. The other option is to have some fun with variations. I'll go ahead and show you those. So let's lower the right leg down to the floor above our head. So these are going to be more advanced variations. You can do these or not. Lowering your right foot down towards the floor. Your left foot is staying pinned to the ceiling. Then lift the right leg back up. Brush the ankles together. Lower your left leg down towards the floor now, keeping the right foot pinned to the ceiling. And then lift the left leg up, brush the ankles back together. Turn the right heel now so that it's into the arch of your left foot, and lower the right leg out to the right towards the floor. Again, if you've had enough, you just come out, do whatever you want. These are advanced variations for those who would like the variations. And you can also set up for your shavasana and turn off my voice at any time. Bring your right foot back up to join the left. Turn the left heel in to the right arch and lower the left leg out to the side towards the floor. Trying to keep that right foot pinned to the ceiling. These are challenges. Lift the left leg back up, heel into the right arch. Take a breath. And then bend both knees out, join your feet together, the bottoms of your feet together, and come into Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose, upside down and shoulder stand. Then extend your legs back up straight and begin to come out of the pose. However you like to, you can bend your knees into your chest, or you can lower your legs down into halasana. And lower yourself down with control. Try to use your core muscles to come down. And once your sacrum hits the floor, walk your upper chest back up. Walk it up and over your blanket pile so the blanket pile is supporting your kidneys. And come into, you can cross your arms up over your head or let your arms flop out to the side in Shavasana, whatever you would like to do. But this is the counter pose. This is the transition to come out of shoulder stand. And at this point, we have exactly 7 minutes left for Shavasana. So get yourself set up for Shavasana. Final relaxation pose of the day. Be sure you're nice and comfortable and covered if you need that. Be sure your head is supported and your neck is supported if you need that. And I will walk you through your Shavasana in a guided meditation. So when you first settle down, be sure that your shoulder blades are nice and flat upon the floor. Turn your head left and right a couple of times to be sure that you're balanced on the back of the skull. Take a slightly deeper than normal inhalation and release with a nice long exhalation as the body sinks and lets go into the floor. Notice the legs becoming heavy, the thigh muscles falling away from the bone, the calf muscles relaxing and softening into the ground, the soles of the feet soft, receptive. Notice the navel dropping down as the lower abdomen softens and deepens like a bowl of warm caramel dropping down towards the sacrum, just melting, descending. Notice the back ribs as they move away from each other and soften and melt into the earth as both sides of the rib cage gently part away from the spine. Moving up to the throat, release the lower hinge of the jaw and feel the throat becoming soft. And as you release the lower hinge of the jaw, notice that the ear canals become soft and rounded. As your hearing begins to descend and move downward and inward into the back of the brain. As this happens, notice the breath. Observe the pattern of the breath, doing nothing to change the breath, just observing. Feel the eyes shrink back in the eye sockets and descend towards the back brain. Feel the frontal brain drop back in the skull cap into the back of the brain. The skin soft and draping. The crown of the head alive. Expanding. So gently begin to deepen your breathing. Bringing awareness and a little bit of movement into your fingers, into your toes. And as you feel ready, you can bend your left knee, roll over to your right hand side, resting your head upon your arm. Just transitioning, taking all the time that you need, but as you feel further ready, you can lift yourself slowly back up to seated, taking your time, keeping your eyes closed and staying quietly and comfortably within yourself. And then at last, coming back to a seated position, and we'll end our practice with one final Om. So bringing the hands together into Namaskarasana. Beginning with a cleansing breath in and out. Breathe in. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for sharing your practice with me today.
Thank you.